And welcome back to the Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com. Now, we're going to be taking a look now at a brand new anime film that is in cinemas and will be coming to Crunchyroll, the streaming service, very, very soon. It's called Suzume, and for me, this is an absolutely brilliant animated film. It revolves around a young girl called Suzume, voiced by Nanaka Hara, and she's lived an interesting life. She lost her mother during the tsunami in Japan, and now she's living with her aunt, Tamaka, played by Iri Fukasashi, and together they've actually done pretty well together. Suzume is at school and is a pretty happy schoolgirl, but she always wonders about that relationship with her aunt and whether her aunt is being held back because of the fact that she now has become a mother over the years. Now, everything changes one day for Suzume when she's on her way to school and she sees somebody that she thinks that she recognizes, somebody called Suta, voiced by Hokuta Matsumara. And she's intrigued enough that she decides to follow him after he asks her for directions to some ruins nearby. When she does so, she finds out that Suta is living a very, very big secret, and soon she finds herself wrapped up in his supernatural world, which unfortunately takes her away from her aunt Tamaki, and that causes even more problems. But this is one of those films where I don't want to talk too much about the plot because there are so many twists and turns in this film that I think it actually ruins it if you don't go into this film not knowing a lot about it. But Lee, tell us a little bit about what you thought about Suzume.
I thought this was really beautifully made anime. I love the journey that Suzume went on and the struggles and challenges she faces and the way she deals with them too and the way she might find herself. There's some amazing concepts in there about natural disasters being connected with the spiritual world, and each character brought into this film brought something special to it. I found myself engrossed with the characters. I was quite inquisitive and had empathy for the cat. I won't go too much into that. I had love for and wanted the very best for Suzume, hoping she would find happiness and not feel or be trapped. I felt sorry for her aunt and wanted Suzume to connect with her. And I was on edge each time Suta had to close a door. I won't explain that any further because that's part of the film I think you'll enjoy finding out about. And I was hoping that Suzume hadn't lost him when circumstances changed in his life. And I enjoyed all the different people she met on her journey, as I said earlier. The film was visually stunning, and at times I forgot I was watching an animation, really. It's a type of film that if someone is new to anime or doesn't usually watch anime, they would be captured by the story and love it. And for those of you who already love anime, I think you will truly love this film. I think the storyline is probably for teenagers and adults, definitely not kids. There's some kind of advanced storyline in there that isn't for kids. And I really will want to watch this film again.
Yeah, it's an absolutely amazing film. It's from director Makoto Shinkai, who has been doing amazing films over the last few years. If you're an anime fan, chances are you've seen his films, Your Name or Weathering with You. But what he does that's so brilliant, I find, with his animations is that he makes films that have got real heart, but they have a supernatural element to them as well. The relationship between Suta and Suzume in this is just as important as the supernatural world in this film, and it's one of the things I find that he manages to do as a director and writer. I think one of the things that a lot of people liked about Harry Potter was that there was a lot of stuff in there about the characters' personal lives as well. Harry having that sense of not belonging anywhere because his parents died when he was young. That's very, very similar to what Shinkai does with his movies as well. He has a strong supernatural element in there, but there's also a very strong characterization and explores relationships, and this film really explores that notion of what is it like for somebody to have their mother go to work one day and just not come home. It like the tsunami that is looked at in this film is the tsunami that we all know that hit Fukushima and places like that a few years back. And Makoto Shinkai actually got the idea for this film when he went exploring some of the ruins that were left after those tsunamis. But this film explores that in such a great way. Like we come to learn that Suzume's entire village was washed away. She was one of the only survivors. Her mother went to work that day as a nurse and then just didn't come home. So this film explores that really well. I think the supernatural element of this film works as well. Sometimes, especially in animations, the whole supernatural world can become very, very confusing when you're trying to keep up with it and trying to watch what's happening. That doesn't happen in this movie. It's very, very grounded. It's explained really well what is happening all throughout. There's also a range of different characters that Suzume meets on her journey as well. And looking back at it, I think all of those characters resembled people in her own life. There's a little bit of a Wizard of Oz style feel there. If you remember back to the Wizard of Oz, all of the people that Dorothy met in Oz were people that resembled people that she knew back on Earth. I think that's the same in this film. Going back and looking at those characters, I think they are people that resemble her mum, resemble her aunt, and resemble herself in a little bit of a sense as well. I want to make mention too, not only of the visuals, but of the amazing soundtrack that's come out with this film. It's put together by a Japanese artist called Radwimps, who I'm really trying to find more work from now because it is a stunning soundtrack. It's like a kind of an electronic John Williams style soundtrack. It's really epic. You've already heard one of the tracks from it, and we're going to play another one in a moment as well. The title track is from Radwimps and has a singer called Toyoka on it, and it's just an amazing soundtrack. I've been listening to it over and over ever since I watched the film, and I absolutely love it. So if you're a fan of anime or you want to get into anime, I think Suzume is a great film to go and see. Go and see it on the biggest screen you possibly can. I know it's screening at IMAX and places like that. Go and see it there if you can. It does have a limited cinema release, so make sure you check your cinema guide to see whether or not it's showing near you. But if it's not, it is coming to Crunchyroll, the streaming platform, very, very soon, so you'll be able to see it there as well. Lee, the big question now is, what are you going to give Suzume out of 5?
I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. There was nothing in it that I would want to change. I thought it was done beautifully. Just a note too that you can watch it in English or you can watch it with the subtitles. So there's a choice there when you go to the cinema, depending where you're going.
Yeah, and also just check that as well, because there are some cinemas that are showing it in Japanese with no subtitles. So make sure you check that you're seeing it either as a Japanese film with English subtitles or that you're watching an English dub if you don't speak Japanese, of course. I'm also going to give this one 5 stars. I absolutely loved this film. It was one of those movies where I could have easily come out of the cinema and gone back in and watched it again. It's such a beautiful, beautiful film. The soundtrack matches that. Just blown away by the movie and the work of Makoto Shinkai. If you haven't seen his other films, go and check them out as well, because they're absolutely amazing. But that is Suzume, and Lee and I are both giving it 5 stars. You are listening to the Popcorn Conspiracy on centralcoastradio.com, and now we're going to take another listen to a track from the Suzume soundtrack.